Dear friends, India has a robust legal framework to protect children through various laws, policies, programs. However, to deal with child sexual abuse cases, the government brought in a special law, namely the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences, POCSO Act 2012. The Act came into force with effect from 14 November 2012, and thereafter the rules were formed to ease the implementation of this Act. In this section, we will try understand something about POCSO and will also try discussing the role of school to support and prevent the child sexual abuse and also to respond the victims of child sexual abuse. So, the POCSO is a very comprehensive law by itself, but then what makes it so unique and different? Number one, the Act defines a child as any person below the age of 18 years, which means that whether boy or girl. So, therefore, this Act is gender neutral. The Act clearly spells out different punishments for different categories of offences. By providing a child-friendly judicial process, this Act therefore encourages a child to report about offence themselves. Also, in keeping with its international child protection standards, this Act provides provision for mandatory reporting, meaning it becomes the legal duty of a person who has the knowledge about a child being abused to report about the offence to the appellate authority. Under this Act, the police have a very important role to play as child protectors throughout the investigative processes. The police personnel, after receiving a report of sexual abuse, has a duty to make arrangements for care and protection of a child. It is also very important for a police to report about such offence to child welfare committees within 24 hours in case they need assistance for care and protection of that child. Apart from all these, the Act also lays down child-friendly processes of recording, interventions, speedy trials through designated special courts. Generally, when we ask what are the offences mentioned under the POCSO Act, the first response that we get is that it is for a person who has committed rape with children, but no. This Act has clearly defined different forms of sexual abuse, including penetrative, non-penetrative assault, sexual harassment and pornography. This Act has further classified sexual assaults as aggravated and non-aggravated. So, aggravated meaning the act committed by a person in a position of trust or authority with a child, like a family member, police official, teacher, doctor, or if the act has been committed to a child who is mentally ill. Therefore, this Act defines all forms of sexual abuse by all kinds of people and have prescribed stringent punishment depending upon the gravity of the offence, ranging from imprisonment to death penalty or fine. Recently, the Act has been amended to make it more strong. The punishment have increased from 7 years to 10 years. The Act now also have a provision that in case there is an offence committed on a child who is below 12 years of age, it will lead to death penalty. The amendment also adds various grounds, like if the act is being committed during natural calamities, situations like insurgencies, etc., or any pandemic situation, it will also lead to sentence of 20 years, death penalty. So, further to reiterate what is mentioned in the Act, and it is very important for us to remember as school teachers, is that any child, if report a case of sexual abuse, it is mandatory for us to report, and the reporting authority for sexual abuse cases is the police. So, having understood what are different provisions and offences mentioned under the POCSO Act, it is important for us to understand the role of school and teachers in responding to the CSA victims. As the child spends majority of his or time in the school, it is important for a teacher to learn and identify the signs and symptoms and build confidence of the child in case he or she sees that a child is not confiding or sharing about the incidents which the child wants to report. There are various guidelines that have been issued time and again to the schools regarding child sexual abuse and POCSO. The major one being the POCSO circular that was issued by Central Board of Secondary Education in 2015, where the circular points out how the child deserves the right to access an environment that is safe, protective and conducive for overall development. Having said that, it is important for us to understand how we can prevent child sexual abuse to happen and also ways in which we can respond to the child victims. It is very important to create a safe space to allow children to disclose about the abuse. Some of the examples can be, we can put a complaint or a suggestion box in the school so that the child can write the complaint if they feel hesitant to speak about the incidents. We can have open discussions in the school on issues of gender, child sexual abuse to encourage children to report, especially the boys. Considering in 2007, the study conducted on child sexual abuse by Ministry of Women and Child revealed that over 52% boys have reported of being abused at some point or the other. We can also do continuous awareness programs for teachers as well as the non-teaching staff. It is also important that the school should have a child protection policy and that this child protection policy should be effectively implemented. Like we do sensitization sessions on health, hygiene, it is also important to have classes on karate, self-defense training for students to empower them to defend themselves during incidences of abuse. Programs like street plays, poster competition, debate to foster gender equality and awareness on issues of child sexual abuse should be conducted regularly. Teachers can also provide awareness to children not only to protect themselves, but also how to report, whom to report, where they can access support in cases of incidences of child sexual abuse. With the pandemic, internet has taken over our life. It is very important to talk about online safety with children, especially on issues of online grooming, which can result in a child falling prey to the abusers. It is important to also have safety audits of the staff and infrastructure of this school. For example, regular checking of the CCTVs, whether they are installed, whether they are working, to ensure that we create a harmonious and safe environment for our children. But what if the child has suffered the abuse? What if the child wants to report about abuse? If a child confides in you about the abuse, the first thing we should do is to allow the child to speak, build confidence of the child and allow them to disclose, and if required, refer a child to the counselor for further emotional support. If you come to know about the abuse, then it is important that we report it to the authority as mentioned in the POCSO Act about the mandatory reporting clause. Because the child confides in you, because the child has trust in you, if we can accompany the child for medical examination or to child welfare committee or in front of police for his first testimony, we should try and extend all the support that a child needs. Without the consent of the child, do not share or disclose about this incident to the family members. In case you think that you are not able to handle or you need some external support, please feel free to call the child helpline number. We are there, we will come assist you and help the child to confide and take the matter to the judicial processes. What we need to emphasize and maintain is the confidentiality of the child. It is specifically mentioned in the Act, and we as adults also need to ensure that if a child is confiding to us, we should maintain the confidentiality of the child. Also, there might be incidences when suddenly you will see a child not interacting with his or her peers. The grades have started falling down suddenly. These are some signs and symptoms which a teacher should look for and should approach the child to discuss about the matter. As a child, either may be hesitant or may be afraid of sharing about the incidents. Therefore, it is very important for us to also learn about the supportive behavior that we should place or we should give the child to help the child build confidence and disclose about the incidents. It is important for us to understand, learn and demonstrate supportive behavior to the children when we are responding to incidences of child sexual abuse and talking to a victim of child sexual abuse. What we need to understand is that one should not start blaming the child and accuse the child of being neglected because of which this behavior occurred to him or her. We should also not start ignoring the child because the child has come forward and have confided in us and want to share something with us. We should also try not to react in very extreme manner to a child when the child is discussing or disclosing about the abuse. We should also not try to send the child back to the abuser and try to support the child if the child comes and discloses that the abuse has happened within the family or by a family member. It is very important to ensure safety and security of a child before the child is sent back home. If we feel that it is not conducive enough to send the child back home, it is important to either contact the child welfare committees or the authorities to discuss about this issue. Never ever discuss about the abuse in front of others, especially in front of the child, in the staff room with other teachers or in the classroom citing example of that child. Also ensure that the child's identity should not be disclosed in media or with other people. All these behaviors will not allow a child to share if the child faces any worse kind of abuse than this. Please also note that all these behaviors, all these do's and don'ts are also mentioned in the POCSO Act, and therefore it is very important for us to demonstrate supportive behavior to a child sexual abuse victim. What we can do is we can continuously assure confidentiality, we can try building empathy, we can try building confidence in the child so that the child becomes confident enough and know that there is somebody who will support the child whenever the child requires. In case you still feel that you need some external support to handle the case disclosure, to take the process to the judicial inquiry, please feel free to connect with your Childline friends and call the 1098 number. I hope by now you have understood how important is the role of a teacher in not only responding but also in preventing child sexual abuse. It is our duty to build capacities of our children, to strengthen them, to not only report but also to fight child sexual abuse. Parallelly, it is also the duty of a school to make preventive measures to make a school a safe place for our children. We have given some additional resources to read in the app, and if any feedback or further clarification is required on the subject, please do feel free to either contact Childline 1098 or write in to dial 1098 at childlineindia.org.in. Thank you.